Joining me now from Washington, D.C., host of the radio show America First, author of The War for America's Soul, and former Deputy Assistant to President Trump, and my friend, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Steph.
So I wanted to know what you think about all this. Do you think there's some sort of nefarious plan here by the Democrats to steal the election when it comes to this push for mail-in voting?
Yeah, it's not a theory, it's a fact. You look at recent cases across the country, you look at the fact that we had a primary, a Democrat primary, 6 weeks ago in New York in District 12, and the Democrats still can't tell us the results of the mail-in votes for that precinct in New York 6 weeks later. Why? Why on earth in the COVID financial aid package legislation would Nancy Pelosi demand the federalization of ballot harvesting, which means anybody without any authentication can collect mass numbers of votes from people and then just drop them at a polling station? They know they can't win the next election. They know the streets of Democrat cities are on fire, and this is their last desperate hope to steal the election, Stephanie.
Yeah, and I understand that there are concerns because we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, but I think that we could, execute this cautiously and properly to keep people safe. Remember, these same health experts, the ones that were either encouraging the George Floyd protest where there's thousands of people shoulder to shoulder, or the ones who were staying silent about it, don't really have much to say about this. I mean, how can they come out and say that it's too dangerous to go out and vote when people can go to groceries, they can go to restaurants, they can pretty much do a lot of things still, yet for some reason voting's impossible. And I get that there are certain cases where some people really can't go if they're immunocompromised or elderly or something, but there's a way around that.
Well, look, if masks work, we are being told now for months that masks work, then wear a mask. How is it? You're absolutely right. How is it that you can have a Trans Lives Matter demonstration in New York with allegedly 500,000 people standing right next to each other with zero social distancing, but we can't go and vote? How is it that you can get on a plane today in America, sit next to somebody who's not a member of your family, but it's dangerous to vote? It's all a crock. It's a lie. It's an attempt to steal the election, pure and simple.
Yeah, and no one really talks about the cost and how this is actually going to be executed properly state by state. I mean, this is a massive project to take on right before the presidential election. And look, I don't have anything against absentee ballots. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it needs to be done in an organized manner.
It's the most sacred thing we have. Think of the tens, the hundreds of thousands of people who have died in the name of keeping our republic alive. And we're going to throw it all away because the Democrats know that they can't win the election with a candidate. Let's look at Joe Biden. He's senile. He has cognitive issues, a man who refuses to debate the president. Right now, we have multiple voices on the left saying, oh, no, no. His campaign is fine as long as Sleepy Creepy Joe stays in his basement. Mail-in voting is the Hail Mary pass to try and get this decrepit, corrupt, senile man into the Oval Office, and it cannot be allowed to occur.
I like your nickname there, Sleepy Creepy Joe. That's pretty good. So speaking of Joe Biden and his short list of potential vice president, his short list, yeah, I can't talk right now, but his short list, we have Kamala Harris and Susan Rice. What do you think of all of these women?
I think it's a slap in the face to the Reverend Martin Luther King that the Democrat Party today has somebody, a putative candidate called Joe Biden, who is a racist, a bigot, who called his fellow segregationists fine gentlemen, who said on record, your viewers can look it up, I don't want my children growing up in a racial jungle. That's Joe Biden. And now, in an attempt to save this candidature, he's saying he's going to make somebody's sexual organs and the level of their skin pigmentation the factor in whether or not they become his running mate. That is exactly the opposite of the legacy of MLK, and it should disgust all Americans, not just Democrats.
What do you think about our former National Security Advisor, Susan Rife? She seems to be at the top of the list. Obviously, there are some who are very critical of his choice.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.